Ladies and gentlemen, it's my pleasure to bring you back to league racing with us tonight. It's the Australian Grand Prix round 9 out of 16, which we are kicking off the second half for this last F1 2024 season. And we are down under for tonight and tomorrow. And today it's Division 1. My name is Amanda German. I'm your commentator for today. And we keep looking at the next part, the next quarter of our race calendar with Australia, China, Bahrain, and Suzuka, almost identical to what we are expecting to come in the next weeks and months for the real world. Obviously, China next week is going to be identical, but then there's a switch around where we have Suzuka in 12th slot, and there's a full qualifying session before we head to another break around the time of the week before Easter, at least in Germany. And yeah, after a very good but less competitive first half, I have to say. Andy is still out there in front, but we'll talk about that in a second. And yeah, I'm just glad we are back after a quick break, and we are looking at the Albert Park circuit. And let's recheck the lineup with you. We have some more reserves I will be talking about later, but that is the current lineup where Tarkin Gino has also moved from Red Bull to Aston Martin. You have to keep in mind, and there's no Robustian left anymore, as well as Diego has been replaced. And more new people are coming in for tonight, and I'm going to give you the track map for Australia in a second. This is the old one. Where's Australia, the new one? Don't spot it right now. Where is it? Is that the new one? Yeah, that's the new one. Okay. Found it. Okay. So that is the Albert Park circuit with that's not even the updated one. There's a DS zone missing on the bit between turn 8 and 9. My apologies, but we have 4 DS zones on this track with 2 detection zones, which obviously is after turn 6 and just between 12 and 13 in an incredibly chaotic race to kick off the season yesterday. And if you have missed it somehow, watch it back, and let's see if rain is going to affect this one, because it was certainly a banger, although the midway part before the safety car caused by Alonso was kind of boring, but we get over that. And we have... What did... I just changed that, hang on. This one I want. We had Russia Cedar as the race winner in Monza 2 weeks ago with Danger David in control. Controls the reserve driver and has taken points for the Red Bull team here as well. There was a short period at the start of the race where it was dry. Multiple people still opted to go in and change for a second slick tire, which resulted in them dropping back, because when the rain arrived, Rush pitted for the first time and later for the second time to get this W under his belt, one of his favorite tracks, and where he also put it in P3, was quite close with control, and he only finished in 4th, and for the first time in Division 1 off the podium this season. Also no win for him. Feddersen could recover to P5, but as you can see, 15 seconds behind. That is mostly due to his late 3rd stop even, so yeah, we weren't expecting that. And also Moksha, they completely botted the strategy. He was 31 seconds behind the leader, and they just butchered it completely. Andrew was in 6th, and as you can see, multiple losing most of their positions, with Quincy up by 8 into 7th. Great race by him. Energetic got the fastest lap from an early seconds from the early first stop. Then Moksha, Bevish, Scott, Jonathan, good, solid amount of points for McLaren as they continue to struggle after control left. And then with Kovachka, Targangino over 1.5 minutes behind. I think Kwon also didn't pit. That's why he has 36 seconds of penalty. He has 2 stops. Oh, okay, never mind then. Race just did not finish. So Ibo was lapped and couldn't get more of the race. Iron goes and also Krangyork retired. Krangyork also bringing out a VSC at the start on lap 4 where multiple dry runners went for the second dry part. Dry tire. And something has gone wrong here as well. I love technology and sometimes I hate it, just like now. On your left hand side, the top 15, Andy leading. Ferguson and Moksha are equal on points after 8 rounds, and that is certainly to no one's surprise, I kind of feel, because they are a strong pairing and they are sharing their good work at Williams control, as I said, reserve. Andrew best of the rest in front of Energetic and Quincy, who both had, solid races. Govica climbing up the order and obviously Rush from 16 into 9th. Rowley Reserve wasn't there, race chase down, Kronkerk 0 points, some points for Jonathan, and then 13 positions by Nate Danger David, who took 20 points for second place. And then, Robustian retired. Takagio, Kuan, Scott up by 5, who just started racing recently again. Verdugo in front of Vincenzo. Then there's Daryl again after his injury in 25th. And, Bevish, some points, as well as Ibo in 29th. And the construction championship looks like this. Quite a big lead already after the first halfway mark, but Mercedes is really racing only with Andy, so I have to take that one with a pinch of salt. Aston fighting McLaren and Ferrari. If Red Bull can fight more points with David, which I assume they can, they're gonna be inside of this then four-way fight very soon. But also Alpine and Racing Bulls could jump the gun and stay with Red Bull. A very competitive mix-up now, I think. Daryl and also the return of Daryl and also the signing of David makes Red Bull a strong pairing, while Rush, just needs to have good races on other tracks as well, where his overall performance should be usually in the top 5, but wasn't until Monza anyway. And Energetic has found some pace with P4, then back-to-back podiums in Division 1 and 2 the week before, so before Monza, I mean. So bigger gap down to Haas with 22 points. That's a tough hill to climb, and I'm kind of certain they can't really achieve that. But we are interested to see what they can produce. I'm looking at our screen right now in terms of information we need. Is there any sound? I don't hear anything so far. Now there is, okay. We have 20 drivers for today, and I'm gonna be going through them as per usual. We have in 17th Andy Andre and Kranjok in 14th for Mercedes. Quincy currently listed in 3rd, has ADS 2011 as a reserve teammate who's giving his rookie race today, and let's see if that rookie Ferrari race goes better than Hamilton's. There's Red Bull with Nate Danger David and with Daryl in 20th, currently listed, and that is Team 3 already done. Big Bruiser on his reserve rookie debut as well, with Jonathan also out the pits already, so that's McLaren for tonight. Then we have Andrew in the 4th, and he's partnered by Rowley actually. So something went wrong there, but that's fine. Still reserve driver. Alpine has Moksha. Oh no, sorry. Wrong division. Kuan. Has Kuan and Russian Series, the winner from last time out, we just spoke about. Energetic and Sir Ibo. And that is 19th. And that is 13th, currently in the and the timing tower. Then we have Kovachka currently in 18th. And Race Chase as a reserve. Oops. Sorry, that's Race Chase. And we have Verdugo and Scott who are racing for Haas now. With the current constructors. The leaders in Ferguson and Moksha, and that's your Williams team. As we are currently watching the first outlaps inside of this 18-minute qualifying session. If you are unfamiliar with our format, it's 18 minutes of qualifying where the best time from all of the drivers will be compared each other, and by that will be setting the grid, as almost everyone is out already. Only Fellerson, Ibo Kovachka and Quincy are in the pit lane. So 16 people are putting in early laps, and there's no threat of rain from the sky for this session at least. And after that we have a short 3 to 5 minute break, and then we have a 50% race without a formation lap as we watch Moksha take us around the revamped Albert Park circuit. I think originally started racing here in 1991, if I'm not mistaken, as Energetic posts the fastest time as of right now. Was only the first driver to do so. They revamped this turn, made it a lot wider, and now we come into the juicy bit where we approach turn 6. That is also way wider now, very important. And the next bit is the most important thing. There's no more chicane here. They just completely straight lined it, and it's flat out. It's beautifully fast, and it's the DRS zone into the high speed chicane of 9 and 10. Very tricky to get wrong. No, very easy to get wrong, I should say. Turn 11 is revamped. It's way narrower on the apex, especially with that high sausage curb, and the corner radius, the apex, is way more 90 degrees, as the rest kind of has remained the same. And you have to say, something they missed out on, as Moksha goes to second position, while Race Chasers posted faster laps together with Daryl to beat Energetic. You have to say that this somehow missed it, I would say, as Rush puts in a 59.09 and someone is off. And that's his teammate and brother Kwan. Where almost Verstappen binned it. Just completely locked the brakes and then went into a bit of a skid of the curb on the outside side. So yeah, that is more of a heavy braking zone. The corner doesn't open up so much, and that means you can we can look at that from the onboard with Race Chase. You really have to consider how you brake there now, and especially a better opportunity to overtake, as we have both McLarens back in the pits. Is Race Chase gonna give it another go? I think so, yeah. But let's see if other people are completing laps. Nope, that was the wrong button. Yeah, Corval's car, for example. I think also Andy is starting one soon, but he's still second or third sector. Danger David second, 16.6. Ferguson 16.7 for P3. Energetic also improved. Kovachka on a 19. 0.2. Only one driver is slower than him right now. Yeah, what I was trying to say is that I think turn 1, especially with the DRS zone, should be reworked. It's horrible to race there. It really hurts the opportunities into turn 3. The dirty air, especially with unequal cars, just like real life. You don't see any overtaking there, and we would have been treated to a boring race, as Cranky puts in a 24.1. So Duku beats that. You have to say that there wasn't really a race going on, or would have been there if it was bone dry. Nothing really flows together, and I personally also don't like it. I think the experience is always great, even from the outside. It looks great to have the defense there. As there was another improvement by Daryl to P6, I think. As we watch Andy heading into the next sector split, almost a 44. Very nice on the exit. Yeah, inside curb you can't really touch, and you just need to nail it. You can run over the exit curb there, and then just completely hammer it until turn 11. Almost run wide here. Curb isn't ideal, and this corner has basically zero grip as well as this does. Also, this medium speed corner doesn't open up the lap very nicely in terms of having opportunities into turn 1, and since this is a medium speed corner as well, especially in these cars with still a tricky traction zone, you don't really have enough time because of the length on of the straight to get an overtake done. So best overtaking opportunity will be turn 19. Turn 9, sorry, which we're approaching with the Ibo right now. Has used a lot of ERS already. Don't think that's good for his lap time. But also this isn't a heavy braking zone. It's still a medium to high speed corner, and especially if you break down from higher gears and higher speeds, you don't really have an opportunity. In the rain, when the cars are unequal, that's doable, or when people fancy using all of their ERS. The slipstream on this game is strong, and the DRS effect is the strongest. That's why you usually run higher downforce wings to keep within someone's DRS window, as the Ivo puts in a 20.2 and is now the slowest on the grid, as Korn has invalidated his lap time. Let's see who's next to cross the line. Someone is on an out lap, and that is Moksha. Let's go back to Moksha, currently P10 after the first runnings. Yeah, the track has still some work to do, and obviously it's never a good indicator of how much pace there is actually in cars, especially after yesterday. Yeah, would have liked them to do more with the track. It's overall better and is more fun, and also fun to watch, as we find roughly 1.5 tenths after the first split with Moksha. And now we blast by. Let's look at his top speed here. 320 maybe, not quite. Yeah, there it was, just briefly, 320 kph. And now the fast high speed chicane into what is turn 11 now. Use extra width of curb at the exit. Turn 12, don't run it too wide. And then this tricky braking zone for 13. Get on the power as early as you can. Out of 14, Moksha over the line with a second attempt. 7.5 minutes to go to P3 on a 16.6. So there was Jonathan to improve, and Andrew jumps Moksha 16.4 for the Romanian, as we have Veroduko. That is not faster, but it looks like he has started his lap as Fallison improves. And after that we have Scott, and he jumps up the order by 0.6 of a second, as I think David is starting a lap, and we will be jumping on board with the Red Bull driver, heading into turn 1 and 2 with 5th gear. Now opening the flap in the rear wing to activate extra top speed on the straight. Roughly at the blackboard is his braking point, and bring it in nicely to the apex. Move to the outside for turn 4 to have the most straight line apex. Don't run over the entry curb and the apex curb here. And then it's also done with the first sector. Lots of sliding from the curb on the inside of 6. As we have now crossed 7 and 8 into this new fast bit. That is our main straight into Nice speed chicane is a bit slower, and he has now invalid the lap time cut across the inside curb of 9 too much. And his second run is ruined as we pick the onboard of ADS here. 2.5 tenths faster. As Scott has retired, is happy with his time or does not think there's more in it. We still would have had enough time to complete another lap, but he has decided against it. 6 tenths brings in the car nicely, uses a bit of the entry curb there, and yeah, completely rides over the right hand side inside curb. Now braking for 11. I was tight. And into 12 with 5th gear. Oh, and he runs to wide. That's the tricky bit with that turn. You really have to consider if your car has enough downforce and your tires are not overcooking at that stage, you can run 5th gear there, but usually 4th is better for the overall turn and traction, because the car doesn't understeer, and it's a medium to high speed corner, even though it's a very short run between the turns from 11 to 12 as we watch Kwon yet to finish with his first attempt, and he has turned down the AS, so expect nothing out of this run. But we can switch to there as ADS says, damn, yeah, that was a bit unfortunate. But you still have time and probably a set of softs to go again, and shows what you can do as Andy Andre takes the provisional pole position off of Russian CA 15.7, as Fallison is already out on his probably final attempt, as Rush is still stationary in the pit lane. There's a V-Cup off in turn 11 as we watch the big sister team in Daryl jump to P4, and we have 3 people on a 16.4, with Daryl now jumping Quincy, who also great performance so far. Has found some issues inside of his pedals as Race Chaser has crashed it at the exit of the high speed chicane. No more improvements from Race Chaser inside of the session. And that is nothing higher than P11. As we have Ibo on another attempt, Kuon on another attempt, Energetic invalidated, and Fellison has started a lap. Yeah, Quincy had an issue with his throttle pedal. Only 97% of input when he was putting 100% of input in. So yeah, a lot of top speed lost, and that is obviously gonna be helping him in terms of raw performance. And speaking of performance, just a bit down by Fellison after the first sector. And the second one is almost done. Just in a blink of an eye, it's turn 7 to turn 8. And he's still down. Needs to complete this lap, and it needs to be fast. There's not much time he can do. There's no more time in which he can do anything else. As more people head out, I think Energetic Wick. No, that is not Energetic. That would be Seibo, as Kwon has put himself in 19th. But there's wing damage to Seibo. Can't see how that is going to be an improvement. Let's see. Just as Fellison has abandoned his lap. Next across the line, Jonathan. Still a bit under the radar. More of a back runner or backfielder. And there's just a tiny amount of improvement by him, but nothing in terms of position, as Veriduko tries again. And we have also Kovachka over the line. In 14th finds a second, but only one position, as I think there was Danger David to start another lap. It's the second out lap though, it seems. And Andy is on an in lap, did not improve further if he tried. And Crankok is starting another attempt. And energetic jumps to third position, 16.226 from the Flying Dutchman. Honestly, very, very good performance. As we see a yellow, now more familiar yellow helmet inside of a Ferrari. Obviously not for the league, we have seen that plenty of times. As Kranjak has binned it after turn 2, and that is obviously his qualifying done. And we are going to be heading for Russia Siri, who invalidated the lap time already. And that is no improvement in terms of his position. The time has ticked off. And Andy is going to take this one, as Veradugo has EIS enabled inside of a corner, which doesn't help at all. And Danger David has another invalid lap time with 12 seconds on the board. 5 place grid penalty for ADS after collision, and Veradugo is disqualified. And then almost thought that Danger David wasn't gonna make it to the line just because of the car that was disqualified. So, can Danger David make it into the top 5? Quincy stays in P6. That lap was no good. What's with Andrew? Currently just 10 thousandths behind him. Aston Martin stays in 7th. Nothing more he could do. Moksha has spun it. Then there is Rush into the pit lane. Next is, I think, Ibo again, but he's still running front wing damage. Andy is through, that's Kranjok next, and we have ADS invalidated. Daryl has invalidated. So the next and last guy, it seems, is Danger David. Currently in 9th position. 410s would find him on the 2nd row, depending on where the 2nd and 3rd digits after the dot are setting. Over the line. Can David jump into the top 5? He can! On also 16.2. As we see 3 drivers finish off with a 16.2 and 3 drivers on a 16.4. Very close inside of the top 10. As there's more of a drop after P12. So very nicely executed by Red Bull. And was 4/10 up, cut the corner. Daryl. Yeah, that obviously hurts. But if you have the pace inside here and you don't get any penalties, that's good for you. As Andre takes another pole position with Rush. 2nd, very good starting position for a race that could be very chaotic if you are in traffic. Energetic, the first of the Red Bull cars, with Danger David and Daryl in 4th and 6th respectively. Fellerson is the lead. Williams with Quincy 7th, Andrew 8th, Moksha only 9th. Scott, Race Chase, Rowley, Jonathan, Kovačka, ADS, then Kranjok, Big Bruiser, and also 5 places, so it's going to be starting at the bottom with Kwan, and there was Ibo, and also Verdugo who got disqualified. And we will be heading for a wet Grand Prix! Oh my word! And it seems like there are full wets on the cars, but we will be going to a break very quickly. Stay tuned for this one. And we are back just in time for the start of this race. It's completely wet in Australia, and Andy Andre takes the fight to rush the series into turn 1, or maybe it's vice versa because Rush is looking good. He had an opportunity. David, and there's Daryl off the road with Fallison and Energetic fighting for third respectively as they head into turn 3. Bit of shenanigans going on already. Moksha and Quincy also in the back. There's more carnage. There's a spin by Scott in our foreground as he drops down, and there's multiple cars off with damage. And Shankok is down to 19th as we have the first virtual safety car. Oh my god. Almost forgot to breathe there. Sorry. 1.3 seconds advantage as we watch everyone on the intermediate tires. Check the weather in the sky. Looks like the usual overcast you can expect from an intermediate start at least, and we will be obviously monitoring any condition changes. Let's look at the first winners and losers. Energetic down 4, 8 up by ADS, obviously starting at the back, and Quincy is down by 9 positions and has no end place left on either side. As we jump back to the front, and there's an incident with, I think, the Dukuk was going very slowly as we restart this race on lap 2. So roughly 2/3 of the first lap were under VSC conditions. And now we have the first pit stop, obviously, and still remaining with our rule after the first half that it's gonna be mandatory 2-stop race no matter what conditions. As Fallison, the Rainmaster, is looking feisty. And Rush isn't finding the confidence as of right now, as there's a yellow because of the Ibo at the exit of 2. And now we watch the Williams driver chase down the Alpine. Everything on this straight is obviously now raw performance from the EIS system, from the slipstream, from whatever you put your setup to, because there's no DS in rainy conditions, despite them for the first time opening that up inside of the Australian race just yesterday. And oh, and Rush gets it wrong on the braking, hits the grass patch on the outside, and that opened the door for Fallison, and he didn't have to do anything after that. And now he's looking feisty, and someone else behind is looking feisty. The top 5 already gapped the rest of the field as Ibo is off. No damage done, it seems. And now we await the arrival. Oh, sorry. We wait the arrival of Fallison onto the gearbox of Andy Andre. Has stayed with him, has kept him honest. The first opportunity might be ahead. 30% EIS points disadvantage as the rest of the field has made some stops now, with Sir Ibo now crashing again into turn 2. Is he close enough? No. Rolly fights Race Chase, overtakes him for what is now 8th position. As Fallison gets a better run out of the high-speed chicane. Andy must have gotten it wrong. Didn't expect that, so a cut across to the next fight. On the inside, Fallison, but the curb is really tricky there with the high soldiers curb. But the next turn is a right-hand side turn. Now he needs to stay with him as he bunches up. The rest of the field cuts across Andy Andre, and he is not fighting that back into turn 13, because this is certainly a low grip for all of them. And now Fallison leads, and we could be looking at 2 back-to-back races where Andy isn't winning, as Rolly has spun it a bit. Race Chase into the pit lane, as we have some drivers already on new inters. And there's another yellow, and that's for Big Bruiser. And McLaren obviously brings you back to some memories from yesterday where 2 were off, but one certain home hero was stuck on the grass for at least a lap. Over a minute, I think, in time loss it was. And Quincy is in need to fight back, and Rolia spawned it completely. And Jonathan has hit him. And there's a 10-second time penalty for that collision. And he needs to get a move on now. As we cut back to the lead. Fallison has gapped Andy already by 1.1 seconds. Rush closely behind to the Romanian driver. What can he do? Oh, he has almost hit the back. That was so close. A bit tight under braking. And Scott has crashed it, and there's a safety car. There's a safety car on track because Scott has lost it. Where Duan has lost it. And that's a big impact, and the safety car conditions are applying now. And we have some drivers into the pit lane, and including Andy Andre. And that's fresh Inters. And he was, that was the usual spectator bug. Moksha's in. So Williams have to split strategy based on their positions, basically. And Energetic is going to mediums. So that suggests to me that we are in the phase where the safety car could extend, or basically could shorten the transition phase. So what we are expecting with this call is now that, obviously assuming that wasn't on that wasn't a mistake. Well, you could say that for a couple of drivers staying out or being too long on the other tire. If this is the case, then we're gonna see a dry patch soon. That would be under racing conditions probably 5 laps away, but with safety car and all of the drivers kind of not bunched up as of right now, it's not a huge gap to the last person, but it's still decent. The rain will stop in that phase, and Energetic will have the right tires as soon as the safety car gets going again. And from my experience and what I'm seeing on screen right now is that the rain is easing off. Let's check on board with tire temperatures. 60 on the front, 65 on the rear. That isn't too great. Anything from optimal really on this track. But can work in the next minutes, and he's already on the tires feeling the low grip that is usually there anyway after transition phase. There are no real puddles left. There's a bit of spray coming off the car, but that is to be expected. I want this. And Energetic has pulled the gamble here. Obviously not in need to stop again if it stops soon with the rain, and it has stopped just in this moment. There's barely any drops left, and Energetic has played a beautiful strategy here, obviously giving up track positions. Most of the Inter runners didn't even pit. So the dry running is inbound and probably will last to the end of the race. And we have hearts for Quincy and Rolly, and Quincy has almost spun it into the wall at the exit. Oh my word! And he has done it. But why hearts though? Oh, and he's doing Isaac and Lawson impression. How is that going so wrongly for him with Energetic being so comfortable, it seems? Oh my word. Quincy, don't crash it now. But I'm confused why he... Oh wait, yeah, well, he doesn't want to pit again, I assume, because he's done with the 2-stop. Honestly, I had a race in SSRL, that was Japan Season 2 Race 3, where I pitted for hards, where probably the mediums were the right choice, especially with tire warm up and how much of the race distance. It was kind of early. It was with the safety car and no, it was without the safety car, but it was transitioning into dry, and then I binned it because the tires weren't warm and I completely overdid it. And pit stops for the top two. Who's staying out there? Ferguson is staying out. Andrew is staying out as well. My guys, it's dry. Or at least damp. Oh my. That looks like the Miami race in my league from 2 weeks ago. It was basically the whole time it was wet, but it was still dry enough for dry tires, but it was wet enough for no DRS for half the race distance, which was interesting because some people undercut it, went for the Inter, and it still worked. There could be extended phases, which is obviously kind of realistic depending on how the drainage coverage of the track is, so how much of the natural flow of the water can be removed by the track basically, or if it's just standing still, which usually on street circuit like this one is kind of good, and safety car is in this lap, so the track usually dries up faster because there's a drainage system in place, which, as you might know, on permanent racetracks isn't and is not needed. So that's why we have more standing water there. 3 drivers have stayed on Inters. 4, both McLarens, Andrew and Ferguson, and I think they're gonna be finding themselves in a somewhat similar position to Lewis Hamilton in Hungary, despite it not being really warm here at the moment. And Quincy has stopped again for the mediums because of the front wing damage. Apology for the SC incurred cyber damage from a spinning car level. It was really it. Okay, yeah, no worries. I think it always makes for great entertaining. As we have Jonathan into the pit lane, and there's a big fault on the restart by Energetic, who's now maybe been passed by. No, that was too early before the yellow line. And I think the intermediate runners are still good to go, but they will be soon not. So right now, they're opening opportunities in terms of how to approach their tire window when it's time for the pit lane. They are super slow. Like, super slow. That looks like, I don't know, NASCAR kind of level. And Race Chase has crashed it. And there's another safety car coming. And that is now the perfect opportunity to pit. And there's the second driver out in that phase of the race, in that part of the race. Exit turn 4 into the wall before turn 5. And that is obviously big for Ferguson and Andrew. But the biggest opportunity really lies for the other drivers to maybe re-pit and have that second stop also done under safety car. As we are down to what is now 18 drivers. I still haven't pitted yet. Interesting. Big bruisers though. I think 20 laps on Danger David's medium tires is gonna be a tough task. The rest could be making it to the end, based on what I've been seeing on this game. Oh, what was that? It's still fucking damp. Quincy entered the pit lane, couldn't make the turn and almost hit the pit lane. Pit lane entry wall. 23 seconds back. Let's check with his tires. And it's less than 60 degrees on the fronts. And roughly 65 on the rears. This is horrible to watch. Oh my word. Oh, there's something happened at the back. Why is everyone going slowly? And Fellison now pits. No, that's Andrew. Sorry, Fellison still leads. Big Bruiser is back on Inters. What is happening? Is it dry enough? It certainly looks like it, but it doesn't feel like it's... I mean, under the safety car, it's gonna be cold as tires anyway, because of... I don't know what they fucked up for tire warm-up in this game, but they certainly didn't get it right. And that means you are on especially cold tires. Under the safety car, any slowing down, so VSC as well. Kinda not the same, but still hurts your tire temps. Hey, Quincy has free track, and we are now approaching 75 on the rear left. And we are still below 60 on the front right. Is there another safety car lap? We have gone past the entry point to Sector 3. I think so. Because it can be 3 laps and Quincy isn't that far away. It is actually... yeah, continuing. And I think that's... kind of expected, I have to say. Oh, Feddersen very close to the safety car there. Is he peeling into the pit lane himself now? Yes, and Danger David has... I'm missing the word there. I forgot what the word was. Has inherited. That's it. David has inherited the lead from Fellison, who's dropping down the order and into P17 for Hearts on what is his first stop. So that's baffling to me. You need to do an extra stop and then you don't really use the best tire for now, which would be the medium. Do a double medium stop from here. Because that tire goes for 13 laps something. Which is great for the rest of the race. Like we have 18 to go. You could even go medium soft if you want. Quincy has caught the pack. I'm rechecking with tire temps to see 60 and 67, 80 on the rears. I think we're getting there now. Did this work out in the favor of Fellison? I wouldn't say so, as the safety car has been called in after an extended additional lap. One of the worst corners to get the restart going here, in terms of the positioning of the cars and the call from the in-game race director. As I'm gonna switch off these penalties, and we are listening to the Red Bull engine as David makes the way to restart this race. And he's gone. And he's trying to get away in this very tricky traction zone. And there are moves for third already. And he is following the slipstream of David and Rush. And he's still in front of Moksha. And there's a 10-second time penalty for Ferguson for ignoring a yellow flag. He overtook someone too early, with ADS going down the order right now. Top 2 have stayed the same, with Andy losing some time. And I'm interested to see if we are in actual fact seeing DS soon. And there's another crash with ADS completely losing the car and smashing into the right hand side wall at the exit of turn 3 before into turn 4, and now there's Quincy going around him, and there's huge contact and consequences for the Ferrari reserve driver for tonight, as we watched Crank York being chased by a Kuan totally out of their position, usually not inside the top 10, as there's energetic fighting to get away from Fellison, who's now into 14th already. Trying to take Big Bruiser around the outside, but there's contact and almost a spin into Quincy as he was crossing the path between these two. And now there's Shankyok off the track. No, that's Kwan fighting with Rowley, who takes him easily around the outside. And we have witnessed another chaotic reset lap on this race as Danger David takes the fastest lap of the race. Is their DRS activated, I wonder? No! There's no information from race control after the first lap. After the safety car reset. And now Kovachka is putting Darrell under pressure. It's still deemed unsafe to race with DRS. What is going on? Or was there just simply no message? Let's see. DS detection point is clearly behind that. It is there, okay. There is DS. There was no message at the top, when it should have been after the fastest lap of David, as he has been overtaken by Rush into turn 9 on an easy overtake. And that attempt by Andy into turn 1 didn't pay off at all. He just made himself runnable to Moksha now because he couldn't stay inside of the DS window. As the Aston Martins have taken 7 and 8 off of Crank York and Kuan. Oh, and it's a 3-wide moment. Jonathan goes deep. Crank York goes deep. He comes on to the track, and there's a DNF for Crank York because he's been hit by one of the cars, and there's another safety car on the track. This race is just like the one we witnessed 24 hours ago. Oh my word, more than 24 hours ago. Someone hit the side of Krankyok after he spun on the exit curb. And now ADS might be back into the race. Pit stop time for Fellison, who needs to take this opportunity as he's still on only one stop. And he's serving 10 seconds. Oh my word. Oh my word. Softs for Kuan. I think that's a bit optimistic. Okay, Rush and Danger David, as well as Kovaska, have not made that second mandatory stop. So what's their plan? They were past the pit entry, but the safety car picked them up. That is the worst time you can have as a leader of the race, because then you are now effectively losing time because the safety car slows down. No one is following deltas, but they need to pit now. They will be losing time anyway. Or they just wait for the next safety car. I have no idea. No, Rush isn't, and David isn't as well. I think Kovatska should go in as well. He does so. Well, that was very tight to the entry lines. It's 80 kph. And Andy, with all of that, despite the mistake at the restart with the mismanagement, is leading the race again. And Quincy is in 5th. Can you believe it? The guy was struggling with tire temps at the restart of the previous 2 safety cars, where he almost pinned it into the wall at the exit out of the pit lane when putting on the hards for the first time, is now in 5th position with, I think, 5 stops. No, that's 4 already, as well as Verdugo. Oh my word, Quincy. What a turnaround. Stop inventing, you should say to his team now, because he's certainly in a good position. Rush, 10th. Danger David, 11th. Mediums and hards. We'll both bring them to the end. Let's see what the pace is like. Huge advantage over the top 4. 8 laps, fresher tires. And Rush needs to be getting a good reset here. One is a bit too far behind. Could be a late call here from the safety car, let's see. Yeah, late call, or at least a bit later. And now the duty of restarting this race goes to none other than the current championship leader. With one of the guys who's in 2nd on equal points from the Williams team behind him. So Moksha takes the win here. Takes off points from Andy. At least 5. Fastest lap is currently with Danger David, which will probably be beaten soon, because the track hasn't been raced on while it was kind of clear with DS and everything, so people will be finding more time as Andy now sends it. And that is a very good strategy by the established 3-time world champion inside of this league, as Daryl and Rowley were going at it into the restart phase, as Quincy is looking good already with Big Bruiser getting a 3-second time penalty. Is Quincy going down the inside here? No, he's staying behind Rowley. Is there an opportunity? We have more racers behind here. Multiple cars jostling for position. Fallison gets by on Sir Ibor, who hits the wall exit at the exit of 5. Tries to get out of the way. He is technically racing for position, but he knows he is not fast enough with these guys and doesn't want to ruin their day, which is mad respect from my side. Ibo, you don't have to do that, but they certainly have to appreciate that big moment of respect, as Quincy was trying to get by on Roddy again and is using all of his ERS already on the restart lap, but he's on non-ERS deployment mode. That's basically 0 top speed, Quincy. Come on, you can do it. You can do better than that. Although he takes the position with Fallison closely behind, he's not going to be able to defend himself from Rowley, Fallison and Russian Sirius also up into 8th now. And also Andrew in 6th. Moksha takes the fastest lap of the race, as I said. And now the Aston Martin side by side into turn 1. Andrew is just slightly ahead and takes the position, as Fallison is taking both of them as they shove each other off the track, and now Russian Siri to the outside of turn 3 on the Williams. Can he do it with the fresher medium tires? He is not significantly alongside the Williams car of Fallison as they turn in for turn 4, but what a great maneuver by Fallison and Rush, who are now into the top 6 positions already with 12 laps to go and way fresher tires than the rest of the pack at all. And now Rush is going to be taking Fallison just before the braking of turn 9, and there's nothing the Williams can do. And the reincarnated German driver is back to racing at the front after a fantastic and ecstatic win in Monza. He's looking for another podium here. And there's a 2-second gap between Quincy and Daryl now. And there's a spin. And Danger David had a collision with Rowley. And David's race gone to absolute not to say the word with S. You know what I mean? And Rush has passed Quincy already, and now Fallison's gonna be next. And he has a 3-second time penalty as well as Energetic behind. Big Bruiser and Jonathan had theirs before to the outside, but Quincy's not fighting that. That is not his race. He's now trying to get and stay behind them, maybe to push into the DS window together. That is off Daryl, of course, who is racing beautifully today, and is the sole remaining flag Red Bull really holds. Is there damage to David's car, I wonder? No. But Rolly had to pit, I think. No, also not. But it's currently being held up by Saibo a bit, I assume. All time penalty holders have 3 seconds as Moksha is looking at the race lead on lap 18. And he takes it off of the Romanian. The Germans in 1st and 4th position respectively, with a Welsh guy in 3rd. And the Hungarian of Fallison with a time penalty in 5th. And then our first Brit of Quincy, followed by the next Romanian who was front-wing damage to his left-hand side M player as Moksha posts the fastest lap of the race. That is beaten by his teammate. Just a couple of moments later, Daryl has lost momentum and is outside of the DS from the top 2, which is obviously gonna be helping Rush soon. They don't need to fight. Fallison needs to be aware that fighting right now is stupid. He needs Rush to pull into the DS window, which he just missed by a couple of thousands. And he's not gonna be using extra power from the DS as Ibo has spun it. Oh, his car's very dirty. Needs to have a wash in the lake maybe. As Kovachka is fighting with ADS. ADS taking P10 off of the other Hungarian. And now Fallison to the inside of Rush. He used all of his ES to get onto the DS window. And they are swapping positions now. And he's looking feisty. Under a second right now. The DS detection zone. We just passed that. Energetic. Another 3-second time penalty. And the train is established. Daryl has also DRS, so the top 6 are running inside their respective DRS windows as of right now. As well, Dooku is under pressure from Danger David. To the outside, he pulls that is the inside for turn 1, but I assume it's done before the braking, and that is correct. Fallison is gonna be not happy with the time penalty he has. There's certainly a podium out of question now. Let's look at ERS 70, 55, 10%, 50%, 30 and 40%. As Fallison and Rush once again fight it, but there might be a double slipstream coming for the Alpine. Can he get 2 on the second straight here? That is most likely your best overtaking opportunity after the one into turn 3, and he does complete it. And now he needs to get back into the DS window as Fallison sends it to the inside of Daryl, pushes him a bit off the curb, but there's nothing. That is certainly unfair here. It's only a bit of hard racing, and that was certainly a nice move, but Rush is again outside of the DS window. The detection point was just before turn 13. And now Andy Andre posts the fastest lap of the race, pushed a bit of his ES. But the DS is so powerful in this track. Almost a second of lap time is basically cut off if you are inside of that. And Energetic has crashed it. And there might be another safety car with just 8 laps to go. Oh my word, Energetic has lost it at the exit of 2. And has recreated Isaac Hatcher's moves before the start of yesterday's race. And now this thing is completely on his head. Who can pit for a nice fresh tire and make it out in time to benefit off of that? Big Bruiser, first guy to come in. And he's putting on the softs, rightfully so. I know that's 2021, I think. Oh my god, another safety car. I don't think any of the top guys wanna pit, especially Rush and Ferguson. I think everyone is through. Yeah, all of them completed 2-stop at least, which is mandatory. Moksha's going in. Rush is going in as well. Okay, Ferguson isn't. I don't know really. I wouldn't have done that personally, I think. Some of these drivers have fresher mediums or hards than most of the pack that was leading now. Quincy is also in. Yeah, they're gambling a bit on that. They are really pitting as well. I think Jonathan is making a right call here, but he's a slower driver who needs to be cautious that he's not getting completely overrun by fresh tires now. So, Quincy and Daryl, as well as Rush and Moksha, have stayed in the same position, just with another guy between them. So that is a good trade-off. But I could have gone severely wrong, because there are only just a couple of laps left. The safety car picked them up now for the first time, so they went half a lap around. And we have softs for ADS, we have Andrew on softs, we have Verdugo on soft, and Big Bruiser, as I just mentioned. And we are down to 16. With only Sir Ibo not scoring today. I think Moksha, the pace is great. He needs to pass Jonathan immediately, and Ferguson needs to think at a team game here. He has the best overtaking opportunities with the fresh tire, and he is on the oldest tire on the racetrack right now with 15 lap old hards. An interesting sprint to the finish coming right up at the start of the next lap. Vedas closed up almost completely. Only a Rolly, Big Bruiser, and Sebo are still missing. If you look at our two debutants for today, Elias in 9th and Big Bruiser in 15, both picking up points as of right now. With established names like Energetic and Race Chase, while Scott has returned to SSRL Racing, who was also a established name from season 1 to 3. Out of the race. So got penalties again. Bottom 2 have 30 seconds, while Jonathan and Ferguson also have 3 seconds. 10 gained by Jonathan, 11 positions gained by ADS. Most lost Danger David 7, who still has an opportunity, kind of a lifeline here, to get himself back into the race. Race pace is certainly there. What tire did he choose to go to? That is medium tires. Some drivers in front are slower based on recent performances and obviously previous seasons, as the sun has come out to hit the track of the Albert Park circuit, where the climate at this stage of the year is usually well and above the 20 degrees Celsius. So it's gonna be hot very soon, but that isn't really simulated inside of this game. We are once again listening in to the Mercedes of Andy Andre. Oh. And we're underway with Quincy getting a 10-second time penalty for collision with Daryl, which certainly isn't justified. Andy leads Ferguson, leads Jonathan. I want to watch Moksha, how fast he can get by on. He needs to take the McLaren out of the way right now, and that was nicely done. Now he needs to stick with the top 2 and hope that his teammate realizes that he can make a move here and win this one against Andy Andre. Yes, has been dispatched a lot already. And David has crashed it! David and Andrew has crashed it! And we can't see it because no one is behind them anymore. Andrew and David are out of the race at the exit of turn 6 onto the main straight. Oh my word. And there's no safety car. Maybe I've used them already. No idea. That's pressure from Fellison. There's pressure from Moksha onto his teammate. Don't fight this too much, Fellison. You have a 3-second time penalty. Play the team game. Don't sell your teammate to the driver behind. And Rush is putting pressure onto Moksha for 3rd position. Which you will certainly get anyway from Fellison because of the time penalty. That wasn't intelligent at all, but there's gonna be DS for all of them. So whoever is willing to spend the most, technically that could be Andy, but he's not gonna overcome that DS disadvantage. Fellison to the inside of 9. Is ahead. Oh, and around the outside goes Moksha. What a move, and there's a Rush off. Rushes off into the wall as Quincy gets a 3-second time penalty. That was too close to call with Daryl also through. And he is slipping off of his tires. Right and around the outside goes Moksha. As my voice is completely gone in any second if I continue with such an excitement here tonight. As Fellison is certainly gonna give the win to his teammate and then fend everyone behind him off. He needs to be doing that. He's not faster and he can't be getting away, and Rush is not gonna get points. I think that's not 90% of the rule we established inside of this season. So Rush is also out after collision. Now the move comes for the lead. No ERS. Basically left for Fellison. And the DRS advantage is great. And now Daryl is fighting for the 2nd place. He still would have anyway because of the time penalty. But they brawl it out. Absolutely incredible move. And now Andy is looking at the inside of Fellison, who's trying to defend the middle line. And now Andy is a bit shoved wide. And there's not much in terms of traction he can use there at the exit on the worst line. I don't think that was due to a contact with Fellison at all. Just the basically hugging of the car. And now Daryl is going for the lead of the race. Daryl has gone to P1 on the 3rd last lap of this race. No years left, and they can all recharge now. And Quincy is currently down to P5 with that time penalty. And Andy will be promoted to the podium. But they are so fast and he's not inside the DS chain. Quincy and all of the top 4 guys should get a move on soon. Not battle too early here. Bruiser with another 3-second time penalty, which is currently demoting him to P12. Moksha onto Daryl around the outside for the lead of the race once again. And the Welsh driver has pulled back into the slipstream. And the dirty airwake of the car in front. They are still with Moksha's 6% ERS charge left with there. He should try to charge inside of the first part of the lap. Starting with the DRS on the main straight. And on the second straight, the second DRS zone. Because he's gonna get overtaken. And he's recharged something here. And Andy is dropping. Quincy could be 4th here. Daryl to the inside. Oh, that is not the preferred line you want to be taking there. Is there a chance for Fellison, despite him having the penalty, to fight for his teammate, to give him a position? A bit of a buffer. Fellison very close to the braking there. Let's look at tires again. Fellison also on 40-lap old tires. This is 7 laps. Quincy has 13 seconds to boot. I don't think the 10 seconds will stay. That is just a horrible bad call from the game at the restart. But the stewards will have to decide on that one. Penultimate lap. Uses overtake to get by again, but he will be an easy target again. But they fight. It's not a clear pass. Daryl has the worst lines through the high-speed chicane. Now the DRS from and the double the slipstream from Fellison comes in. Do not hit your teammate at the apex, and he does not do so. He just keeps involving Daryl with the fight. They fight again through turn 12 as Quincy is looking on. 2.5 seconds to Andy behind. That is currently not helping him really. Bit of oversteer at the exit. Now losing momentum, but he has 100% charge. We start the final lap of this crazy race. Moksha leads. Fellison is technically second and Quincy is fourth, but they both have time penalties. So what's it gonna be? Any one of these with 2 warnings on the clock right now could be going out of the podium positions as Andy is falling back further and further, making it probably 2 back-to-back races where he's not on the podium. The Williams have decided we are out for today. The wettest dreams of Williams fans when Sainz joined and the car looked good in preseason testing for Australia is something we are seeing on screen right now. Despite the penalties, they are currently in order. Is Fellison gonna make another move? Is Quincy trying to take third away from Daryl, who has mismanaged ES, and he does so, and that is opening the gap to P4 behind. Andy is currently outside and Quincy is pushing on, and there's a 3-second corner cut by Andrew as well. And I was certainly not going to be getting that. Fellison, if he gets overtaken by Quincy, that is position gone because they're going to be on 3 seconds each. He's going to retake the lead from Moksha, but he's not going to be carrying. The German is probably going to take the win in Australia. And we round the final corner with Fellison over the line. But it's Moksha to win in Australia. And there's Daryl in second position. Huge drop from Quincy expected. And Andy is not on the podium again. But Quincy's time penalty is certainly unfair and will be reinstated. His P4 for the end of the race. Great show by these drivers. ADS in currently 6th, probably 7th later. Jonathan, big points here. Juan running the flag for Alpine. There's Rowley in 11th. Some points after collision late with Danger David, who eventually retired. Well, that's unfortunate. ADS, don't quit the session too early. Now the result is a bit screwed. And Big Bruiser, points on debut. Let's go. Daryl, a fucking podium, my guy. Well done. GG's. My voice is completely gone. First went to pit, then cut back out. Is that illegal? Honestly, no idea. Maybe ask Quincy now. Moksha wins in Australia. Daryl, Fellison, then Andy Andre. I expect Quincy to be reinstated to 4th. Let's see. Kovačka for now 5th, then Quincy 6th. Jonathan, Kwan, Veriduko, Rowley. Ibo, great points. Well done. Big Bruiser, then ADS. I have no idea what the ruling was on this one again. Out. Rush, Andrew, David, Energetic, Shankyork, Race Chase, and Scott. What a race from them. And we're gonna be heading to a quick break before we talk to them drivers. We are back after an absolutely excitement packed race in Australia tonight as we kickstart the second half of the season. And we are speaking to race winner Moksha in Australia. Moksha, that was such a brawl today. Honestly, so many decisions to be made here inside of this race with the early rain, multiple safety cars, including you being inside of the mix, and obviously some people, including Andy and your teammates, trying to stay down at the end as we had a kind of sprint to the finish, and then you just you let him go by on the last lap, but it was certainly going to be your win anyway with his time penalty. How thrilled are you with this result? And obviously big points over Andy, who's probably dropping back to P5 with removal of Quincy's penalties, who seem to be very unfair after the safety car restart phase. So big points not only for the team once again, but also in what could be a very interesting championships second half.
Yeah, thank you. I'm not sure if I keep this win because Fellison told me his penalty might get removed, but yeah, I take it. It's a double podium again for the Williams team, and yeah, I had a very exhausting race. Yeah, as you told, a lot of decisions to make. I think I made the right ones to the right times. I didn't understand why Andy didn't pit for the mediums. The timing was perfect. 8 laps to go. Yeah, but I take it.
Yeah, certainly after a bit of a slump where you have been on the podium all of the time, but then twice not, especially also with Division 2. You have put up another win. Obviously, we've seen you take the win in what was Season 5 for No Stabilizers Allowed in Monza. Then you dialed off, and then we had a short season with Season 6 before we headed into this one. Currently, you are equal on points with fellas, and you've been both trading podiums, and seems maybe wins now. Let's see what the stewards decide. Big points in the constructors championship again. Is this a motivation? Also, looking at the rest of the tracks, we are going to be heading towards to it in the second half here to keep maybe Andy still in sight and keep that kind of a championship fight still with you, or I still solely focus on what is probably maximizing results for the team?
Yeah, honestly, I think Andy is gone in the championship. Of course, I want to fight him still. That he's not bought from the league. But yeah, I look for the championship with the constructors, as I told on the beginning of the season, and yeah, it's great results so far. Also, the first half of the season, I couldn't imagine it at the beginning. Yeah, I keep attacking, and let's see what it brings.
Yeah, speaking of attacking, what kind of attack level can we see from you in China next week? We're going to be heading to Shanghai International Circuit. Very tricky, also a lot of DRS trains obviously established. If you can keep it inside of the DRS window behind the car running in front of you inside of the second sector, which is going to be the key factor in terms of setting up his setup as well. Not only top speed for the 1.1 kilometers straight in the third sector. What is your target for China?
China wasn't really a good track for me historically, but it was mostly related to the setup. I think for this race, I got a setup, and yeah, I try to make a podium again, but I'm not sure what my pace is because we have so much fast drivers with us, like Daryl and also Quincy today. So great racing.
Yeah, certainly was super hectic and eventful, and let's see if China can deliver to that. Also, maybe some rain there would be spicy things up, obviously. Yeah, well, obviously, congratulations on what we now assume is going to be first off your win, and then let's see what the stewards decide in the green room. And see you in 7 days' time for China.
Thank you. See you. Bye bye.
Bye bye. Next up is Daryl, someone we haven't seen inside of the season due to an injury as of late, but as a comeback, the first two races, that isn't too bad from you, and obviously a second place here with all of this chaos, multiple drivers, and different strategy calls inside of the top rule at the end before this last safety car hit was certainly gonna be key factor to victory, because no one wants to be stuck in traffic here, especially with all of these DRS trains. How did you manage to put yourself into that position to be in a fight for the top 5, later the top 3 here on the podium today?
Pitting for the hard tyre, really. That was how I got into the mix.
When was that decision made for you? Under which safety car did you opt to go for that hard?
I think it was the first safety car, and then I pitted on the second safety car for a new set of mediums, and it worked out well.
Yeah, certainly. Obviously, the result is absolutely amazing. Looking at how maybe the rest of the season is going for you, you're kind of back now. What do you expect from the rest of the season? What do you want to achieve? Podium is obviously huge in terms of milestone today already. Have you found pace in general, or was just this chaotic race and the track obviously suiting you today? What is kind of your main personal target for the rest of the second half?
Chaotic race, to be honest. I really want to win a race, but without a wheel, it's kind of hard. So, yeah, maybe a few more podiums, and I'll be happy.
Yeah, certainly good show. What are you expecting from Shanghai as a track for you?
Probably top 10 with the controller. It's going to be very, very difficult. So I'm not looking at a good result in China. But then in the rest of the races, hopefully a few podiums.
Okay, looking forward to that. Thank you for your insights and speaking to you maybe next week again.
Thank you very much.
And we move to Quincy, who has also already stated to us that there might be a removal of both of those time penalties. Quincy, talk to us about that major impact in terms of a race result. We're obviously in what is maybe fourth position, also with Andy being that far back in terms of the gap, disregarding the 10 seconds. Now looking at maybe 13 seconds of removal, how did the penalties come to your name today?
I had two warnings under safety car that I was nursing. I'm usually pretty good around this track. I did a 100% race on Friday with no warnings or penalties, so I was confident that that I'd be able to get through the rest of the race without an extra warning. Rush and Andy had an incident coming out of the high speed chicane of 9 and 10, or 10 and 11. Andy sort of drifted wide, and with all the overspeed and DRS, I thought he would have stayed still because he was moving slowly. So I tried to go around the outside, which was the inside actually. Tried to go around the inside of that corner, and he sort of moved over at the same time. So I had to go to avoid a collision. I had to go onto the grass a little bit, and it gave me a warning, which incidentally gave me a 3 seconds. The other 10 seconds was just got because I think on the safety car restart there was a little bit of braking there and tapped the rear wing of Daryl, and it gave me an instant 10 seconds, which you know in the past has been removed. So I'm confident both of those are going to get removed. So hopefully P2 is on the cards, but if not P5, that's all right. It's a good race. I thought it was going to be over from the start because I crashed into Scott in the beginning in the early laps. Pitted to the hards too early, was very slippery, lost the wing. So it's been a very eventful race. And I think what won me out in the end was having the harder allocation and having the ability to have two hards, and then obviously swap into the fresh medium at the end. So I think, yeah, good race from me. Bit scrappy in terms of the race itself, just because it was just so slippery, but it said it was dry. I don't know what kind of bugs this game still has, but it was a crazy race. Really enjoyed it.
Yeah, it certainly looked like it was ready to be running on slicks, and then all of a sudden you almost hit the wall at the exit of the pit lane. And yeah, you were kind of back and then into the mix. I was very surprised by that. You can see it on the broadcast as well. One thing I wanted to talk about, obviously, big points coming if you are in second place, jumping even to P5 with both Andrew and Energetic not scoring in front of you today. Second part of the season is here now. Do you prefer the calendar to the first half, or what is kind of your pace level maybe expected also with you finding some extra top speed levels now with your pedals, I assume?
I think since fixing the pedals, I've gained a little bit more pace, at least 10th here or there. The rest of the tracks, I'm very happy with this quarter from rounds 9 to 12, apart from Suzuka, I'm not too strong with. But I think that's mainly usually because we only stop once and the tyre wear is quite heavy. So I think a
Yeah.
two-stop race hopefully will put me in a good position. But yeah, I'm quite happy about the remaining tracks. They're all tracks that I've done well with previously in the last month or two. So yeah, looking forward to it.
Yeah, speaking of tracks, obviously next week China. What is your level of confidence looking like for that track?
China, I love in the hot and wet. Providing I can do some testing on some setups, then I think it will go very well. Quali-wise, I don't always do the best in qualifying, but I think race pace on China is quite high. So I'm going to be ready to go, I think.
Obviously, your interesting strategy as well. Usually a very straight line, one stop of medium to hard, but on our 2-stop mandatory ruling, we're gonna be getting a very interesting race there. Thank you very much for your insights and looking towards the result, obviously, of this one. Crazy podium, crazy race today. Enjoy the rest of your evening. See you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Bye. That has been it from today's race inside of the start of the second season for SSRL season 5, that is, with Division 1 here for tonight. If you want to see more of us, make sure to leave a follow here and tune in for the next race in China, Shanghai, in what's going to be 7 days' time. Tomorrow on GDave11, that is his Twitch name, we're going to be heading to the Division 2 race in Australia. And if you want to see the VODs, just check out Silly Season Racing League on YouTube. Make sure to leave a subscription there as well. And seeing you in 7 days' time. My voice needs rest now. Have a good evening. Ta-da.